Helmets on for safety. Welcome back to Random. And today's episode is, of course, sponsored by those Maverick Mechanics, the masters of motorized mayhem, Team Them Damn Newt Boys Woo. Check out their sponsor real quick. Today's sponsor is, once again, Team Them Damn Newt Boys Woo. Them Damn Newt Boys Woo is a team of eclectic engineers, backyard builders, and Maverick Mechanics, and they are currently sponsoring this build for Bonneville. So check out Team Them Damn Newt Boys Woo and stick around for the episode. Right, so today's episode is all about the differences between a republic and a democracy. Now, honestly, I wanted to do an episode on James Watt and his improvement on the steam engine, and I wanted to do it at the Union Station, which is just down the road, but my editor said, no, we need to do this episode first because some blue anon morons are under the impression that, well, the world's greatest republic is in fact a democracy. Well, it's not, and we're going to explain a little bit of that today. Okay, so a democracy is basically the people, a collective, all right? So whether that's a town, whether that's a city, whether that's a state, or it's a large group of people that come together, and basically each and every person has the exact same amount of power and decision-making capability when it comes to public works. Like, say, you want to build a bridge, you want to build a dam, you want to build a power plant, or anything like that, really. Everyone has an exact amount, a same of say in what the project is, how it's constructed, how it's carried out, and ultimately how it's funded and how it's used. All right, so everybody has an equal say and equal voice in a democracy. Now, believe it or not, the last true democracies to ever exist on the planet were actually pirate ships. Now, I know you're probably thinking, now, wait a minute, what about the captain of the pirate ship, like, say, Blackbeard? Well, this is actually for another episode. We'll have to do it at a later time, but the long and short, on a pirate ship, it operated as a pure democracy. That means everybody on the crew had a vote in what the ship did. All right, where they went, who they attacked, how loot and plunder was divided amongst the crew. And it was all voted on by a majority, okay? So if, say, the entire crew voted they wanted to go to the Caribbean, and one person said, no, I want to stick close to the eastern seaboard of the United States, well, more people said, let's go to the Caribbean, so the ship went to the Caribbean. That's how a democracy works, all right? Now, in a republic, you have a very large population, or a similarly sized population to that on board a ship. Well, in a republic, you have representatives, and the representatives are the ones that come up with the solutions and the ways of doing things for the benefit of the community. So on a ship, we'll say the captain is the representative, and the members of the crew are basically the local populace. Well, in the Republic, the captain says, we are going here, and the crew, they basically say, well, can we go here instead? Can we go, instead of going to the eastern seaboard of the United States, let's go to the Caribbean. At which point the captain will say, no, but if we go here and do what we need to do, after we get done, we might go somewhere else. At least that's a gross oversimplification of what a republic is. We'll actually get a little bit more into that with this next example. Okay, so for the conversation, we're going to say that town A is in an area. It's got different kinds of terrain. It's got hills, it's got a river, it's got plains, and so on. And it has a population of, we'll say, about 10,000 people, okay? And town A is operated under a pure democracy, all right? Now, they have elected a representative to direct and control and guide public works, So that's things like bridges, highways, toll booths, water supply, that kind of thing. Now, Town 1, in approximately the same area, we'll say it's 50 miles away, also has 10,000 people, but it operates under a true republic for the exact same reason, okay? So the representative who is elected or appointed, doesn't really matter which, guides the population, guides a project for public works. Again, that's highways, that's bridges, that's water treatment, that's waste removal, so on. Okay, so you got these two towns. They have a common obstacle that they have to overcome, a river, let's say. Now, Town A gets together at the town hall on a Friday, and they sit down and say, all right, we want a bridge over this river. And the representative comes to them and says, okay, you want this bridge. What do you want it made out of? And the entire meeting that Friday, all of the villagers, all the townspeople get together and they argue back and forth about what materials to use, what processes to use to make the bridge. And finally, they get down to it and have a final vote, and they want to build their bridge out of macaroni. That's right. Technically, in a democracy, if enough people want it, a bridge will be made out of macaroni. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. Not even the experts, not even the people building the bridge. The people in Town A want their bridge built out of macaroni. Now, in Town 1, again, is a pure republic, all right? So the representative comes to the people and says, all right, Town A is getting a bridge across the river that we share. I know you guys want a bridge. Give me until next Friday, and I'm going to get back to you, and we're going to talk about this bridge, and you're going to vote whether or not you want this project to go forward. And all the people in Town 1 say, okay, it's your project, handle it. And end of the meeting. So Town A has a meeting the following Friday. And they say, okay, we know we're going to build our bridge out of macaroni. How long do we want it to take to build? And the people argue back and forth, and they finally have a vote, and they get down to the last vote, and it says, all right, we want this bridge to take approximately 2 years to build out of macaroni. That same Friday in Town 1, the representative comes back to the people, and he says, all right, I've sat down with various experts, engineers, architects, builders, and I have our plan. To get across this river, we're going to use steel reinforced concrete. Per local ordinance, the actual labor, the actual construction of the bridge was offered to the unions. They declined, so we'll be using contractors to build the bridge. It will take approximately 18 months. The way we're funding it is out of the Public Works Fund taxes that was collected throughout the year. How we're going to expand and update the bridge as it will be needed. We'll charge a toll from crossing the bridge from one way or the other. So a toll in both directions. And that will be used to maintain and upgrade the bridge over time. And for future expansion should we need another bridge. And the representative asked the people, all right, do we want the project to continue? Yes or to begin? Yes or no? And all the people in Town 1 say, yes, begin the project immediately. And the representative says, great. I'll tell the construction workers, I'll tell everybody in charge of designing and building, and they'll get started this following Monday. Meeting adjourned. Town 1 is happy. The representative goes to the builders, the architects, the constructors, and the engineers and says, all right, begin the project Monday. Town 1 is happy. Back in Town A, they get to talking about the following Friday about how Town 1 is already building their bridge on the third Friday. All right, so Town A is irritated at their representative. Why isn't our bridge already under construction when Town A started their project the same time we did? And the representative is like, well, you haven't decided where you wanted to build the bridge yet. You haven't decided who to build it. You haven't decided how long it was going to take. Well, actually, they did. They said 2 years. So Town A is like, all right, well, we want this. We want it built. We don't care. Well, you have to vote on who's actually building it. You have to vote how it's actually getting paid for. You have to vote what's going to happen, who's going to maintain it, how is it going to get maintained, how's it going to be upgraded in the future. Town A hasn't discussed any of that. Town 1, the representative from Town 1, thought of that already. Now, why do you think that is? What's the big differences between how these two towns operated? Well, one is a democracy, one is a republic. In a republic, as demonstrated in Town 1, all of the people gave up a small fraction of their decision-making ability in regards to public works to the representative. The representative then uses that power in the best interest of the people that he represents, all right? So he determined that he is not an expert in bridges, but he knows who is. So he talked to them that following week after the first meeting. And he said, all right, I need to build a bridge. I need the best people to do it. I need the best materials to do it. I need to talk to these people that know how to do this. So that's what he does. And he talked with those experts and made the best decision possible for the success of the project, so the people he represents will have the best outcome. And that's how a republic is supposed to work. Whereas in Town A, they were so busy arguing back and forth about whether or not to build a bridge out of macaroni or concrete or steel reinforced concrete that they wasted all their time. And then they looked at Town 1, who had already made all those decisions and already voted on whether or not the project should begin, and they're irritated that Town 1 is having their bridge built first. And so that's the problem with a democracy, really, particularly when it comes to large populations. You get all these different people arguing back and forth, and very little gets done. Where in a republic, the representative already knows and already has an idea of what to do and how to do it, and all he has to do is make the decision and then go back to the people he represents and say, okay, yay or nay on this project. And then the project begins, or doesn't if there's notes from the people that he's supposed to be representing. Now, I want you to ask yourself, folks, which of these systems seems most familiar today? The answer might surprise you. So that's about it for today's episode of Random. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. It helps our YouTube algorithm. It helps the channel grow, and it gets my editor off my case about not earning any money to contribute to the household. And of course, it helps pay for gas from my roommate. So hope you enjoyed today's episode. Leave any comments about anything you'd like to see in the near future. And again, look forward to that James Watt episode about steam engines and locomotives and things like that, because that's going to be a really fun one. So keep it random, everybody.